بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي شرع الإسلام فسهل شرائعه لمن ورده وجعله أمنا لمن علقه وسلما لمن دخله، ثم الصلاة والسلام على حبيبه وصفيه الذي بعثه رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who established Islam and made it easy for those who approach it, and a source of peace for those who attach to them, and a source of safety and security for those who enter it. Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I start, could I ask the brothers who have gone way back into the sisters section to move forward? That column over there is clearly set for the brothers to not to go there. عباد الله أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الحكيم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد نصركم الله ببدر وأنتم أذلة فاتقوا الله لعلكم تشكرون. Allah certainly supported you at the battle of Badr when you were very weak and powerless. So become God conscious, that you be grateful. We start with the usual reminders. Number one, please turn off your cell phone and refrain from conversation during the sermons. The cell phones could be turned off for half an hour or an hour and nothing will happen. Number two, next week, for those who started their beginning of the month, unfortunately, so quickly we've come to the end. Those who started the beginning of the month on the Tuesday, then they are going to have a Thursday Eid al-Fitr. And at the center, we intend to organize 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock Salat al-Eid. And if we have people around later, then we can do 10 o'clock as well. As far as those who started the fasting on Wednesday, we really need to wait a little bit to see whether, as we get close, whether there is a designation of a day by one of the Maraja, or they leave it to the citation of the moon, as it happened during the beginning of the month, where the followers of Ayatollah Khoy rahmatullah alayh, because of his unique understanding of ufuq and so on, were able to fast on Tuesday because the moon was sighted in San Diego. But others had to wait for Wednesday. Ayatollah Sistani and others had to wait for Wednesday. So, as they say, watch the space. But it's certainly for those who began the Tuesday as the beginning of the month, we are going to have a Thursday Salat al-Eid. Today, since it is the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, it has become by now established on the international calendars as Yawm al-Quds al-Alami, in which the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, since the beginning of the Islamic Revolution, was designated as a day in which every Muslim around the world, they stand in solidarity with the Palestinians. This year, however, is a little bit unique in many ways. Not only the Israelis themselves are in crisis, politically and economically and everything else, what we call the axis of resistance is changing the dynamics of the Middle East. Who could thought that the Saudis would approach the Syrian government to open their embassy back again? The Saudis will start negotiating with the Iranians for the settlements of the affairs in the Middle East. These are monumental steps that are taking place. And these are people, the Saudis, 2 years ago, Mohammed bin Salman was saying that I'm going to export terrorism into Iran and dysfunctionalize the system. Now, they suddenly realize that Iran is not going to go anywhere. They are the ones that have to accept the reality. And in Iraq, the past 2-3 weeks, been secret dealings and meetings taking place to calm the situation down. Not to say anything about the Yemeni affairs. Now the Yemenis are at will hitting the Saudis, and they realize they can't do anything about it. So they have to go back begging the Iranians to calm things down. So we are beginning to get a shift in the whole axis of the Middle East, and this is something which makes Yom al-Quds al-Alami a little bit more unique this year. As we approach the end of the month of Ramadan, I want to pray that we have only a few days left of it. Either Wednesday, going to be last, or Tuesday going to be last. These are only few days left. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all of your prayers, supplications, du'as, fastings, and everything else during these days have been accepted, inshallah. Please, whatever is left of this month, we have a number of ahadith that says, pray with your tongue for somebody else. Why? Because you haven't committed any sin with this tongue about somebody else. And let somebody else pray for you. Let's make this a habit. Pray for each other during whatever is left of this month. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would forgive us and accept our prayer and fasting. 17th of Ramadan, second year of Hijrah, was the Battle of Badr. And every year during the month of Ramadan, the 17th, people commemorate the Battle of Badr. I don't intend, in the light of limited time that we have, to delve into the historical factors that led to the whole incident of Badr, but I certainly want to use the story of Badr to see what we can learn from it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran uses the Battle of Badr and the Battle of Uhud to remind the Muslim community, look at one battle and learn from it. And look at another battle and learn from it. Look at the first battle, Battle of Badr, when your tawakkul and dedication to Allah was strong, how Allah came to your support. And look at Battle of Uhud, suddenly because of numbers, we were mesmerized. We have now 20,000, 30,000 people under arm. What happened to you? You were routed. So there is a space for these two major battles at the early history of Islam that we can learn from. So I'm just going to go briefly and mention this. The battle itself took only a few hours. They met early in the morning, and by afternoon, the battle was over. What is critical is when we assess the number of Muslims that participated in the battle in opposition to the number of mushrikeens that were available. Historian says 313 maximum Muslims participated, poorly equipped, poorly armed, disorganized, but they had proper leadership and dedicated to submit to the command of God no matter what. In opposition, almost 1,000, 3 times as many, fully equipped, with all the military hardware and the support that they could have. 313 individuals with 72 camels and 2 horses, and not enough sword even to go around. So what did they do? One of the Muhajirin or Ansar would go to the battle, fight, come back and give the sword to somebody else, and somebody else goes there and he took a rest. This was the situation. This is how your faith was protected. And then we take it easy when it comes to the defense of the faith. So let's look at few of the lessons that we can learn from the Battle of the Badr. By the way, now it has become an issue of people writing, even in the Western academic circles. It was strange a few days ago when I was looking through articles to come across an dissertation for a master's degree in American War College, written by a major in the US Air Force. And the title of the dissertation, Islam's First Arrow, the Battle of the Badr as a decisive battle in Islamic history, and the significance of that battle today. They are trying to learn something from Battle of the Badr, but are we trying to learn anything from the Battle of the Badr? And when you go through this dissertation, close to 170 pages, at the end, the conclusion, the Battle of the Badr has created a unique narrative in the mind of the Muslims. We have to be watchful if that narrative is going to be used against us when we go into their country. Well, we leave that for the academics within you to decide if they want to go and look at it. Number one, we can understand the significance and the impact of Battle of Badr with the prayers that the Holy Prophet prayed just before the battle. He said, "O Lord, these small group of people that are in front of me are the only hope that I have for the future of Islam. If they are routed, you are not going to be worshipped for a long period to come." That prayer clearly states the challenge in front of the Muslim community. If they were destroyed, Islam would have been destroyed. So Muslims were outnumbered in every category that you can imagine. When a group of men, and Badr became an issue, when a group of Muslims, sincere believers, tried to make a difference in their societies and communities, no matter how bleak the situation, if the trust is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah comes to their victory. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ وَمَا النَّصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. You want victory? Don't be deceived by my own power. Far from it. If your link to Allah is severed, no matter how much hardware you can put together, you're going to lose, as it happened in the Battle of Uhud. And we saw similar kind of things happen in 2006 in Lebanon. According to military historians, the Israelis poured over 110,000 soldiers and so on into Lebanon. And they admitted that they only in front of them were 5,500 individuals. Victory is only from Allah, not military hardware. Never undermine the power of prayer. That's another thing that we can learn from it. If it wasn't for the prayer of the Holy Prophet and Quran, Surah Al-Anfal clearly states, إِذْ تَسْتَغِيثُونَ رَبَّكُمْ Al-Ghawth. The situation is so dear that you plead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help. فَاسْتَجَابَ لَكُمْ. So the power of prayer, whether the Holy Prophet or other members of the community, is quite clear. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, indeed, I will reinforce you with thousands of angels. What makes life easier. Number 3, numbers and quantity don't matter. What matters is the quality. كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة. Verse in the Holy Quran. Only, how many times in the history of humanity, only small group of people, but dedicated, they have been able to win huge armies. The history of Islam and the other. Numbers don't matter. Determination and sincerity is one of the critical factors. I mean, you just imagine a ramshackle army, 313, in front of 1,000 fully equipped. I don't have enough sword to go around. One of the instances in which the Holy Prophet, the hadith says, used to feel sad of the number of people that wanted to participate within the battle. He did not have enough military hardware to share it with them, so he had to send them back. And yet they came. When there is a will, there is a way. They said, okay, Ya Rasulullah, we don't have enough sword, we will share it. We don't have enough horses, we walk. We don't have enough camels, we walk with each other. And then the Quraysh thought, well, look at them. Ramshackle army, we can rout them out within 5 minutes. They lost 70 most capable and able fighters that they had. In opposition, the Muslim that didn't have anything, 14. And over 70 that were captured. These are major figures. Abu Jahl, the staunch enemy of Islam, was killed in this battle. Ibn Mas'ud says that the Holy Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, search for Abu Jahl, see where he is. So I went around between those who were still on the ground. I saw him, the last few breaths of his life. So I came to him and I said, he looked at me and he said, who won the battle? He said, sir, Ibn Mas'ud said, you didn't, the Holy Prophet did. He said, tell him, if I had hate before, I'm going to have double the hate now for what happened to Quraysh. And finally, the role of leadership. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salamu alayhi, and there are other hadith that says, the figure of the Holy Prophet brought tranquility and peace to people when we felt under stress. When we wanted to feel a little bit of stability, we went close to the Holy Prophet. So the role of the leadership, the prayer, the steadfastness, connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these are necessary if we really want to change anything within our life. Not wealth, not quantity, not hardware. With one issue, if there are a small group of people, and we are still waiting for that number 313 dedicated individuals to come together for the living Imam to come back. A hadith that we have, they say once Imam Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif has 313 dedicated similar to the Badr, then is the time to come back. 1.6 billion Muslims, among them even at the best estimate 300 million Shias. We haven't been able to produce 313 dedicated individuals. What does it tell us about? What does that tell us about our own status? I was expecting the phone to ring at any moment. I was surprised that it lasted this long. Please turn it off. So what we learn from it is a combination of all these. Leadership, trusting in Allah, patience, and perseverance, etc., etc. The challenges that we have in our lives can be dealt with. We are obligated as Muslims and as Shias. We are obligated to provide an alternative when the society fails to deliver. But we can't do it if we play the same game that they are playing. We really need to change the narrative and shift the paradigm. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the privilege of being able to follow Islam and put our full trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And please, as I said earlier, during whatever is left of the month, pray for each other, inshallah, so that we missed a huge number of our friends during this year. Who knows what's going to happen until next year? Let's ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness first, and to grant us the privilege of being around until next Ramadan, month of Ramadan, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
على حب آل البيت رحم الله من أعاد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على
الثالثة بأعلى أصواتكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه من سيئات أعمالنا. ثم الصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى سيدنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين. أخواتي وإخواني الأعزاء، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عباد الله، أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم يا من لا يرغب في الجزاء ويا من لا يندم على العطاء ويا من لا يكافي عبده على السواء، منتك ابتداء وعفوك تفضل. تشكر من شكرك وأنت ألهمته شكرك، وتكافئ من حمدك وأنت علمته حمدك. نبذة من دعاء إمام زين العابدين عليه الصلاة والسلام في بداية شهر رمضان. انتهى الشهر الكريم هذا الموسم العبادي التي تضمن الكثير من الفرص لإصلاح النفس وتصحيح العلاقة مع كتاب الله، فضلاً عن تعزيز الجانب الروحي من خلال الأدعية اليومية والاستغفار وارتياد المساجد. ولكن بقى لنا عدد من الأسئلة. هل هلال عيد الفطر سيسدل الستار على مرحلة إيمانية متميزة تشارك فيها المسلمون في مختلف نقاط الأرض؟ أو هل تنطلق العجلة الدنيوية من جديد دون اكتراث للجانب الروحي والإيماني بحجة الانشغالات والضغوط الحياتية؟ هل انتهت المهمة عند هذا الحد وحانت العودة إلى سابق العهد قبل شهر رمضان؟ أو هل يعود سيء الخلق إلى طباعه التي حاول فرملتها في شهر الله؟ هل يتهاون بالصلاة مجدداً من حاول على مدى شهر كامل أن يصلي الصلاة في أول وقتها؟ ماذا عن النظر إلى الأيتام وأحوالهم؟ هل نتخلي عنهم على مدار العام؟ ماذا عن كتاب الله الذي أنزل في شهر رمضان؟ هل سيبقى على مدار السنة ينادينا ويعاني من هجرنا وجفاؤنا؟ هل سنحمله من بين أيدينا مجدداً أم سنتركه معلقاً على رفوف المكاتب؟ هل ستبرد الهمم العالية التي دأبت على الوقوف بين يدي الله في المساجد تناجي ربها وتطلب الغفران؟ أو هل ينتهي مع هلال شوال صلاحية هذا الموسم العبادي الذي شحذت فيه الهمم على مستوى الأفراد والجماعات لتحصيل القربى من الله سبحانه وتعالى؟ هل مر شهر رمضان على أغلب المجتمع دون استغابة أو بهتان أو نميمة حتى يكون السؤال إذا انتهى شهر الله هل نعود كما بدأنا؟ وهل تعلمنا من شهر الله ما يريده الله منا من خلال خطبة رسول الله، الخطبة المعروفة الشعبانية؟ نعم، سينتهي الشهر المبارك، ولكن ماذا عن الزاد الذي حملناه من شهر رمضان؟ هل نحن قادرون على أن نكمل ما بدأناه في رمضان أو أن ذلك يفوق طاقتنا وليس بمقدورنا أن نقوم منه؟ إن الله سبحانه وتعالى أراد منا من خلال الأجواء الروحانية التي اكتسبناها في صيامنا في شهر رمضان أن نصل إلى مرحلة التقوى. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين، ليش؟ لعلكم تتقون. إلى أن نصل إلى مرحلة التقوى التي هي صون النفس من الوقوع في المهالك، وأي مهلكة أعظم من غضب الله تعالى عز وجل. الصوم يمثل مرحلة ترويضية للإنسان، فإذا كنا نستطيع خلال شهر كامل الابتعاد عن ضغط غريزتين أساسيتين في حياتنا، وهما غريزة الطعام والشرب اللذان هما قوام حياتنا كجسد، واستطعنا أن نتحكم بهما شهراً كاملاً، فإن ذلك يمهد لنا، المفروض يمهد لنا الطريق الواسع لأن نتحكم ببقية أهوائنا وملذاتنا وميولنا وشهواتنا. علينا أن نحافظ على الاستمرارية، فإذا قطعنا هذا الاستمرارية فلن نكون قد حققنا الهدف من الصيام. فعلينا أن ننظر إلى الخط البياني لحياتنا في غير شهر رمضان ومقارنته به، ثم نحكم على أنفسنا. هل نصوم عن الحرام بكل تفصيلاته كما كنا نحرص في شهر رمضان؟ فإذا لم نكن كذلك فنحن المغبونون. إن شهر رمضان كان بمثابة المؤونة والزاد والرصيد المجمد للعام المقبل. ليالي القدر نسأل الله أنه يكتب أحوالنا من جديد للسنة القادمة. علينا أن نحذر المعاصي والضياع والموبقات. إن لم يغير شهر رمضان فينا وفي نفوسنا الأمارة بالسوء فلنراجع حساباتنا مع الله، ولنعد النظر في علاقاتنا مع الله الواحد الأحد، ولنجدد عهودنا مع الله، لأنه لا ينسى من فضله أحد. المشكلة يا أخوان إننا لم نتغير في شهر رمضان كما ينبغي. للأسف لم يعد هناك أي حرمة للشهر حتى يكون هناك حرمة لغيره من الأيام. لما نوصل إلى مرحلة الساعة 4:30 العصر أخت شيعية لابسة حجاب تشتغل بمحل وماخذ البطل مال مي تشرب، عمرها قد ايه؟ 21 سنة، مو أكثر من ذلك. حتى لو فرضنا أنه الأخت عنده مشكلة أو عنده مانع، احتراما للشهر إنسان يقدر يروح بمكان يشرب، ولكن علنا معناته أنه ما عندنا احترام للشهر رمضان. إذا تدخل بمحل واحد كبير بالعمر عمره 55 سنة قاعد دا ياكل، حتى لو فرضنا أنه أنت عندك عذر طبي أو شرعي أو أي شيء، يعني التجاهر بالفسق. المشكلة إننا لم نتغير في شهر رمضان كما ينبغي. للأسف لم يعد هناك أي حرمة للشهر حتى يكون حرمة لغيره من الأيام. إذا بشهر رمضان إحنا هذا نعمله، شو راح نعمل بقية الأيام؟ نسأل المولى أن يرضى عنا ما بقي من هذا الشهر، وأن يعيننا على المحافظة على رضاه. لا بد لنا ونحن نعيش أواخر الشهر المبارك من أن ننظر إلى الأيام القادمة من عمرنا نظرة وعي وتأمل، أن نحسم خيارنا ونتخذ القرار، أن نكمل ما بدأناه من أجواء إيمانية في شهر رمضان حتى نقوى على هذه الحياة ومتاعبها، نتنفس النفحات الرمضانية لتبقى أيامنا كلها أعيادا بطاعة الله ورضاه إن شاء الله. نسألك اللهم أن لا تطوي هذا الشهر المبارك إلا وقد محوت سيئاتنا، وقبلت توبتنا، وفرجت همومنا، وشفيت مرضانا، وغفرت لموتانا، إنك مجيب الدعاء وعلى كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا محمد أفضل ما صليت وباركت على أحد من خلقك، وصل على سيدنا سيد الوصيين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب، وصلى على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، وصلى على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، وصلى على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه، وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره والمستشهدين بين يديه إن شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.